Okay, I'm super stoked. Really close. So you can see in here, everything is lining up pretty good. Okay, I got all the brake booster and everything off the firewall, so the firewall is clean and clear. I already made my marks here. Basically, I'm going to cut this whole cowl out. That's going to give us room for the high pressure fuel pump. Then we're going to cut this trans tunnel out here. I think I can basically cut this whole thing out, use the S550 Firewall. That's going to give me all the pickup points for the pedal, the brakes, the clutch, and then also the air box. So we're gonna have to modify some stuff for the air box, I know for sure, but I really want to keep AC because Texas is hot. This is where it wants to sit. It's very far back. That fuel pump and stuff is very far in the cab. It might benefit us to move the engine forward as far as we possibly can with the clearance of the oil pan. So this thing fits very terribly. But what we're gonna do is I have an inch here between the oil pan and the subframe. I think we just move the engine up an inch and work with what we got and try to make it a little bit bigger just in case if this thing ever gets a coyote. Hopefully it will fit with a little bit of mods, and move the engine. I gotta pull the engine all the way out again, make some custom motor mounts. So lucky for me, these have a lot of meat on them. The bottom is a little rough, but it should sit on this flat part for the most part. So I just drill this out. If I need to, I'll make a little gusset here. But this one's very flat. That's good. So I just moved the hole back an inch. Unfortunately, this is like 2 inches, so I couldn't use that one. Gonna try her again. So here we were supposed to take a regular video, but we got the engine in and it sit pretty good. Okay, so I got this car all cut apart now. It's in a bajillion D pieces. Took like 3+ hours to get the floor out, but we have the floor over here. It's super bent and kinked because the hit was so bad the car got rolled. You can see how bad it is. So I got some ratchet straps to the lift. I'm gonna try to pull it out as much as I can right now, and then I'm gonna do more measurements and see how much of the frame I gotta cut off of this to fit on here. And we got a lot of spot weld drilling and cutting and figuring things out, but it's coming along. Okay, I spent a ton of time hammering and pulling, and it doesn't look perfect, but it's pretty straight. I got a lot of the kinks out, and I put the air box up, and it's pretty close. So I'm sure once I get all the frame rails drilled out, then it will be close. I got the kink out of the trans tunnel, so that's pretty straight. Lots of work ahead of me, but one step closer. Okay, this morning we're prepping the car for the new firewall. I detabbed everything. I took all the bolts and everything off of here. We'll probably end up cutting it right to this frame rail here, just to leave that all attached, but clean this up, because I think I'm gonna have to come off of this a little bit to make it work. But the car is pretty close. I'm gonna just have to cut this trans tunnel back more, and I think I'm honestly gonna have to pull the motor, but I want to try to dry fit it in there to see what we're working with. Then over here, I need to take all this frame off. I'm basically gonna cut it right at this lip here. That way I have a nice flat spot to weld to the car, but I have the right angle for the firewall and everything. And I think this lip that kicks it back is gonna have to go away because the firewall has to be pushed very far back. So I'm gonna drill a lot of spot welds. All these gonna come out for everything, do some cutting, and hopefully we can get this thing dry fit today. Okay, I have so many hours of cutting in this, so many hours. The floor is pretty much opened up in the front to the frame. I think I'm gonna have to drill all the spot welds out and pull the seat brackets so I can sit the Mustang floor on top. I'm also gonna have to get rid of all the sound deadening so I can weld to it. I'm gonna have to clean all that up. I already got the Mustang frame pretty well cleaned up. I cut the frame rails off of it, but basically if I can get the factory cross member mounts in, that will be a win. And then we'll have to trim this up to fit. I imagine we won't use the whole floor like that. It's same with the front over here, but I need it to look good. And so that's kind of the point of laying it over the top, is I think this is going to contour nicely over the top of this hump here, and I think it really needs to come back super far. It definitely needs to meet here, so that puts us halfway down. And we're gonna just have to trim and see what happens throughout. This is all fully boxed, so even if I do like where to trim the floor out, there's so much frame there that it's not even worth trying to cut the floor out. So we'll just weld the other floor over the top of it and to the side and stuff, so it looks proper. Lots to do still. I knew this was going to be the hard long shot of it, and I have a whole weekend of getting the thing cut apart, basically just cutting in spot welds. But hopefully I can get this at least sat in there so I can get a good idea of what I gotta do next. All right, we have this tunnel opened up really big. There's like a frame here, a small frame rail, so I cut it right at the top of that. We'll see if I need to make this any bigger. But one thing I did find, that for some reason this air chisel takes off the sound deadening really easily with almost no effort. There it is, top. So basically I'm gonna have to air chisel most of the front out because of where it's gonna get welded in, and gonna draw all these spot welds. Big chunk. All right, it's in, kind of. It's sitting in there. I'm gonna have to do some trimming across this edge because it's too wide, and then trying to slowly move it forward to see where it fits. So we're gonna just keep cutting it little by little to get it to fit right. Okay, I'm super stoked. Really close. So you can see in here, everything is lining up pretty good. I think I've got like another inch, maybe a little bit more that I can move up. And we'll be pretty much right where we need to be. The tunnel I did cut. I think once I flatten that back out, it's gonna be almost perfect. But we're getting there. I'm just kind of slowly working this area so I can push the wall more forward without losing my room for the brake pedals and everything, and also trying to keep it straight. So I'm gonna lift the car up and see where that got us on the bottom, because I know there's quite a bit more cutting we need to do there too. Looking from under here, it actually looks pretty good. There's definitely some cutting we need to do still. It's got actually quite a bit of room, especially on this side. We got at least 2 inches to move this firewall more forward, and that's gonna make everything look a lot better. But surprisingly, this bracing fits up pretty well. We're probably gonna just tie it in somewhere in the back here. That way it retains the factory bracing to the car. And then we'll just trim excess metal. This is gonna have to get tied in together. We'll get some thinner sheet metal to tie that in so there's not just a giant hole there. But it's coming and it's getting close, and there's definitely a ton of room to work on it now. I bet you a Coyote would fit. Tried to get this looking as decent as possible. It looks like shit, but as long as the airbox mounts, that's all that actually matters. And it's gonna be so far behind the car, you're never gonna see it. But progress is being made. Let's see if we can get it actually in place tomorrow and maybe get a couple tacks in. Oh man, I don't think I could have got any luckier on this. The master just fits. There's like no room. I probably need to clearance it just a little bit up top, but there's plenty of room to do that, and it just fits. I'm super stoked with that, because that could have been a huge problem. I have so much time on this firewall, it's ridiculous. I probably have 10 hours of welding, but it does look pretty good. We're closed off on both sides. All up there. It's gonna have some gonna have to get ground down and painted. Bunch of seam sealer, make sure we don't get water and stuff in here. I welded the whole seam all the way up and around, so that's done. We're pretty much done at the bottom. I gotta fill in where my screws were, put some more beads on like this patch panel and a couple more tacks at the side to make sure this is all tight. We got the plate there, only needed about an inch to cover the gap, so I gotta weld that in, and we'll finally be done with the trans tunnel. Can't wait, because that's definitely the hard part. Took me forever to do it. All right, I hope you guys had a great new year and enjoyed the video. We are still working hard to get videos out every Thursday, but that firewall took forever, and I didn't want to bore you guys with the craziest long video ever of the firewall. So we are like probably 2 months since the last video that came out in progress on the car. But we're keeping up with the YouTube videos and, you know, trying to make you more content. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and check out the store, get yourself a shirt, and we'll see you later.